Beauty Junkie, welcome to my channel. Today we're getting into the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. Yes, this palette here, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's recommending it for the Sephora sale. I picked it up from that very exact sale and I have been loving the swatches. We're going to try it out for the first time today. Look at this. It says Rose Quartz. This is a purple palette in my opinion. A lot of purples, a lot of pinkish shades, but a lot of different textures, which is very exciting. I have to say, I don't really buy much from Huda Beauty. Just to be perfectly honest, I think I've received things in subscription boxes from this brand, but I don't know that I've ever bought anything on purpose from Huda Beauty. So very excited. I think a lot of people are loving the formula of this. That's why I picked it up. She has a lot of those like 9-pan palettes that I just never found appealing or that exciting to me. But this one, I heard a lot of good things. I do enjoy a good mauve-y moment, and there seems to be really pretty formulas in here. So I'm going to try it out today, and let's go into the details of this palette first. It's made in Italy. There is 17.3 grams, 0.6 ounces of product. I don't know if that's just the whole palette, probably. This lasts 24 months. This is the box packaging. Not super exciting. I do like the weight of this palette, and this is super pretty. It looks like a quartz kind of countertop with like holographic tones in it. The back is not quite as exciting. It just has like the information about the palette. And then when you open it up, it does have a really nice mirror. And it looks like 18 shades in here, which is quite a bit. I do like the vibe and the look of it. It looks very clean. Like, just the packaging looks clean, and I'm just, yeah. I like the look of this palette. I love that the names are printed under the shades. The pans, the squares look a little bit small, but that's okay. I don't use a whole eyeshadow anyway. Now you can get this at Sephora for $67. There's a sale going on right now, so depending on your member status, you can get anywhere from 10 to 20% off. I'm sure Huda will eventually have this on sale at some point. But let's get into swatches. I'll go ahead and show the B-roll of swatches in daylight. Hopefully you found those swatches helpful. I know the swatches really make this palette stand out. And I'm going to create a look. I obviously can't use all 18 shades. Some of these mattes look a little bit more muted, and some of them look a little bit more mauve-y. I'm going to try to use some more mauve tones today. And I definitely want to get into some foils. Honestly, like, I think I'm going to get so many looks out of this palette because there's so many gosh dang beautiful shades. So I'm going to start out with Serenity just to see what that is like. It's a mauve, very mauve matte. If you've tried Dose of Colors before, they had a Marvelous Mauves little palette. And this reminds me of a shade in that palette. I think mine crumbled because I tried to depot it, so I don't really have that palette anymore. Ooh, this is a pretty bright matte purple shade. That's a stunning mauve. Serenity, I like. I'm going to do the same look on both eyes because I plan to go out into public later, so I don't want to have two different looks on my eyes, although I've done that before. Ooh, this is such a pretty shade. right up my alley. I love a mauve. Okay, so I want to do something a little bit more neutral but gray, which I love the shade Precious. This is going to be a nice taupey kind of color to give us a definition, some crease action going here, and just a really good tone. Very gray though. You guys seeing what's developing here? Some definition with mauve and gray. There's a lighter kind of grayish taupey shade in here called Radiate that you may prefer to use instead of Precious. But it has, it looks like a little bit more white of base to it. But I think we laid down a really nice matte color. Now I want to think about the under eye. I'm going to start with Radiate, which is that lighter gray shade. I do have mascara on already, but let's just see what happens with this one. It looks like it has a bit of a pinkish tone to it. It's not super bright, but it's going to give us a little bit of something under the eye. That is a very pink leaning gray shade, so not really gray. Kind of a tricky one there. Okay, so let's get into something really exciting. These are foily, metallic-y, fun, glittery kind of shades. Are what I live for. So Cosmic Love, Blissful, and Moon Magic are, like, to me, the most exciting shades from this palette. Lovestone, I'll talk about in a little bit. I also really like Joy and Self-Love because they're just really light, kind of interesting shades. Energize and Abundance look like a really pretty metallic. Quartz, to me, is probably why this palette is named after. And I don't find it to be that exciting. So let's go into Cosmic Love, which is all swirly and so pretty and so fun, and I might end up using my finger. Are you guys seeing this? I'm going to use my finger. I don't want fallout, and this looks like a fallout kind of a shade. Oh yeah. Definitely a finger, a special shade if you're with the Pat McGrath family. This may look like a familiar texture to you. Oh my god. Are you guys seeing this? I love this color. It is so good. I mean, this look is going up a notch. It's very purple, but it's got a bit of an edge, a bit of a darkness to it. It's kind of a violet-y blue in there as well. This color reminds me of the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 kind of bluish vibe, but it's purple. You know what I mean? But the same idea. That's it. That shade is it. That is everything. I know you may not love purple, but I think you can appreciate what's happening here, right? Alright, so that is like we're done, right? No, we're gonna keep going. So Moon Magic would be another like over the top, a really pretty shade, but we already have that going on. I'm going to try Self-Love, which is a really kind of a light, highlighty shade here. And this one is definitely more pink and just kind of a frosty one. It looked a little bit more exciting on the swatch. Let's dip into Joy. Joy looks a little bit more substantial. I'm just going to mix the two. How about that? So this is a very, very frosty, fun look. I look like a cupcake right now that I don't know if I would eat, but probably a little bit too much. But I'm really attracted to these shades. Probably not age appropriate, but I don't even care. Oh my gosh. So that's probably a little bit too much frost for the inner corner, and it's probably not quite light enough, you know what I mean? We want like a little bit of a lighter shade. which this palette doesn't really have like that really light inner corner shade in it, which I think I would prefer. Because Self-Love isn't quite there for me. You could probably do Moon Magic if you really wanted to. Let's just try a little bit of that. It's just a really kind of a topper shade though. And I don't know if you want glitter right there. This is a very soft shade that's kind of falling apart with this little tiny brush. Oh, that is very purple. Okay, I don't know if we're just making things worse. Yeah, I think that might not be the best inner corner kind of look. Here's the thing. I want to like do a little bit something on the outer corner just because why not? I think Empowered is too dark. That's like a grape soda-y shade. Maybe Mantra, which is a matte, just a little bit. Okay, blending time. I think I want to redo my under eye. So that matte shade Mantra was probably a little bit too much. Maybe for nighttime. I think this is a little bit much for daytime with all the glitter and smoke and such. Man, I know I look like a mess right now, but I love these shades. Honestly, this is right up my alley, and I do want to do a look eventually with like a more on this side of the palette than this side, which is mostly where I was hanging out, but this is more of like the rosy part, I would say, and probably a little bit more wearable for most people. I know a lot of people don't love purple, but I absolutely do, and I wanted to try out the funnest shades first. This is kind of 80s glam, very sparkly, but I just love these tones, and I got very minimal fallout, but I did use my fingers on that Cosmic Love shade, so I think that did help a bit. I'm going to do some final touches, just finish off a little bit more mascara, maybe a little bit liner, finish off my lip, and give you my final thoughts on this palette. Alright, here is the final look. I really like this palette quite a bit. If you love a purple moment, you're gonna love a lot of shades in here, and there's some really beautiful special shades in this palette. I did have some fallout. I powdered, cleaned up a little bit, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this look. I did add some liner. I think that amped up the glam a little bit, added a little bit more mascara. This look would even be better with some big old lashes, and the drama with this shift is just absolutely stunning. Let's go over the shades of this palette and I'll give you my final thoughts. As I said, this palette kind of has its more quartzy rose gold, not really, but sort of, I guess, more neutrally kind of vibe. I mean, it does have the shade here, but then we have definitely more purples and pinks over here, the brighter, more fun side. I do need to try some more stuff on this end of the palette. This middle shade here, which is really shiny, it has a little bit of glitter in it, but you can barely see it, and it's just kind of a shiny top coat, but it's pretty glossy, so I don't really know the point of this guy. It feels like a lip balm almost. Maybe to give you like a glossy sheen on your lid. I don't really know about that. I think it was an interesting choice to put that one in here. I think it's going to collect some powder on top of it. The mattes are pretty nice. I did try Cherished on my brow bone, which is a light pink, and that looked pretty chalky, so I'm not a fan of that one. I will say, like, I don't think I really need every shade in here. I do wish there was a better inner corner. These two did disappoint a little bit in that they were not as good on the eye as they were swatched. They're a little bit too frosty, and I don't know that that's like a technical term, but I just didn't like the way they looked on my eye, if that makes sense. They didn't quite stand out as much and just kind of gave a frosted look, which is not really what I'm going for. Cosmic Love is really pretty. That's kind of the standout shifty shade that I put on that reminds me a lot of Pat McGrath, to be honest. Blissful is another one that I didn't try that is a wonderful foil. And then Moon Magic I tried to put on the inner corner, very light, glittery, pinkish kind of shade. Those are the three standouts in my opinion in this palette, but there's some other like really pretty kind of metallic shades this way. So this palette is, for Huda Beauty, I'm sure is on the more expensive side of things. I think overall, if you like purple, you're gonna enjoy a lot of shades in this palette, but probably not every single one, because there is sort of that quartz side, a little bit more muted tones. It just depends on if you like all the shades in here. Like if you like all the tones, you're probably gonna be happy, but if you only really like half the palette in here, like maybe this should have been split in two. I mean, I could totally see the people that like this side and the people like this. There is a little bit of crossover. But honestly, I think just try not to narrow your mind that much. I think you can make both sides of the palette make really beautiful looks with them. These special shades are a little bit powdery, a little bit dusty. You want to be careful so you don't like smash and drop this palette, because I feel like those shades are a little bit fragile. I did get a little bit of fallout, of course. These are kind of glittery, foily, fun things, but not a huge deal. I swept a lot of it away, covered it with powder. I mean, overall, if you like fun shades, this is a palette that's an easy pick. Do I think a lot of these mauvey tones are that unique? No, I think Dose of Color's Marvelous Mauves, you can get a very similar look with the mattes. The only thing I would say is like they do have some really pretty special foily shades that I think are worth checking out and swatching in store if you can. If this glittery thing is not your thing, I don't know that this palette is really that special. And if you don't love a lot of the mattes, is this palette really worth it for those few special shades? I'm not quite sure that that's true. I do see myself reaching for this palette for a variety of looks. So to me it's worth it, but if you can't see the creativity that you could get out of this, then I wouldn't pick it up. But if you like this color story, I mean, there is a variety of textures in here, which is always nice for a palette. If you're just a matte person, I would pick up the purpley toned Natasha Denona, the retro eyeshadow palette. There's some similar tones. It looks like that palette has some light shades, but also a lot more richer options. And this is definitely more purple. That one is a little bit more mauve-y and rosy, but those are a lot more matte, so you probably will be happier with those than this palette. I like the variety of stuff in here for sure, and you know, for my first experience with Huda Beauty eyeshadow, I have to say, I know that I've heard that the quality isn't the same for all her palettes, but this one I'm pretty impressed with. You're not going to hit every shade out of the park, but I think their formula is really nice, for sure. If you can get it on sale, even better, but you know, the price point, is it worth it? That's totally up to your taste preferences. I think the formula is good. I mean, I don't really have a lot of complaints. It's just like, could the layout, could the choices have been a little bit different? Sure, but you know, I think I'll be able to make this palette work for multiple looks. Let me know your thoughts below. What shades are you really attracted to in this palette? I'm really curious. Do you like the shades that I like? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.